A YouTuber named Alex Hayes and his friends find a cool looking stone perch overlooking the beach below. The good weather has them in high spirits and it isn't long before they are playing around near the ledge. Alex wants to impress everyone with a headstand, but it doesn't exactly work out as planned.
Holy oh, don't do that to me, oh my goodness. Holy oh.
Pause here and you'll see how close Alex was to tumbling over. He barely catches himself with his right hand, and if his right leg went back any further, then he would have definitely lost his balance. There's a YouTuber named Anonymous Web who's developed a scary habit, the need to buy scary things off of the deep web. His channel has only been around for a few months, and already he's gotten himself into more trouble than he was expecting, but more on that in a second. First, let's go over some of his most recent buys. On March 7th, 2020, a deep web package arrives after a 3-week wait. Anonymous Web had already given up hope that he would ever get it, and figured he had been ripped off. Seeing it in person fills him with unexplainable dread before he even opens it because he had ordered it from a website about witchcraft and demonology. Inside is a colorful doll with a dark message. Pins are stuck in its feet, face, and forehead. A yellow page appears to be instructions to do some sort of ritual. Here are the steps. First, he sprinkles some kind of black ash around the doll in a circle. Tell me if this looks like someone's cremated remains. Next, he puts the candles on both sides of the doll. The lighter that came in the box doesn't work, so he gets up to find another one. And at 17 minutes and 35 seconds, something happens. The doll appears to move ever so slightly. If this was someone's remains, then maybe he transferred their life into the doll. Anonymous Web doesn't think much of it until he gets another potentially possessed dark web doll on May 16th, 2020. He buys the box from the same person, which doesn't make sense if he thinks the first one didn't work. But maybe he saw the part where it moved and bought one more. The doll has a male symbol on its forehead, to the right of which is a triangle, perhaps an all-seeing pyramid eye, with black spikes pushed through. Holes are drilled in the mouth to form a wicked smile. A burnt letter is soaked in something. It reads, "In night I seek, in dark I breathe, and if you say its name twice, the curse is said to end your life." Its name is Ken Ken. You're only supposed to say it twice, but Anonymous Web says it 3 times just to be sure.
Ken, 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 Ken.
A big mistake he later regrets.
Ken.
It looks like he uses one of the candles to set the doll's dress aflame. You can hear him pick up a candle and slam it down really fast. But look again, there's no candle where his free hand is. He even puts paper down where the candle would theoretically have to be. There are only 2 candles within reach, these 2, and he clearly doesn't touch either of them when the doll goes up in flames. The reason why I've shown you these 2 videos is to better explain the third. On June 2nd, 2020, exactly 13 days after releasing the curse of the previous doll, something began rummaging around his bedroom from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. It starts around his dresser. Then it moves to the far wall. After pulling on the doorknob with all its strength, it sounds exhausted afterwards and can't get free. After a long time, it returns to stomp across the room. And later that night, it gets out. So this would be terrifying if it was real, but I'm not sure if it's fake. I think he could have been standing behind the dresser and pushed the flowers over himself. Likewise, he could have reached around and opened the drawers himself. The footsteps and exhale would have been his own. He could have touched the bed himself off camera to make it squeak, but I don't know how he moved the picture. That's really strange. And then there's the very end when he comes back into the room and sees his room is messed up.
Yeah, f*** you.
Someone could have shut off the camera from the bottom, but at 2 minutes and 7 seconds you can see the entire doorway immediately after it happens, and no one is there. Dennis and Tim of Nerve Paranormal return to the Atkinson Manor to see if there's anything they've missed their first time around. There certainly is something they've missed before, and it definitely does not miss them. They are first greeted by a stuffed animal that I don't think was there before. It looks much less dusty than the steps around it, and therefore was probably put there recently. Nerve Paranormal could have put that there themselves though, so even though it's creepy, it's also easily disproven. Less easy to disprove, however, is when they hear this commotion while holding a spirit box session. It sounds like something runs up the steps moments before the door opens, yet no one is there. When they return downstairs, they find this blue kid's chair, shown briefly at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, is now part of a neatly arranged circle at 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Just as they are wondering how the chairs got this way, they get their answer. This still frame, taken in a flash of his camera at 17 minutes and 44 seconds, shows the chairs 1 second before they pull away. You can see no strings running on the floor whatsoever. I don't see how this is possible unless they put magnets on the bottom of these chairs and slid them across the ground from one floor below, which requires 4 different people and a lot of effort. Instead of running away to somewhere safe, they stand their ground, which seems to make the ghost of the manor grow even more displeased. Then again, this object just so happens to be within kicking distance of the cameraman, so maybe he did it himself and then acted surprised. When Tim and Dennis decide to leave a minute later, they hear 4 footsteps and the doors open. This could be a spirit or it could be their friends. I think it could be real considering they eventually chose to escape off the roof and risk falling to get out of there. A YouTuber named Bad Choice Noah decides to live up to his name by feeding his huge collection of snakes alone in the dark at 3 a.m. He's hoping to catch something paranormal on video while he's at it, but something almost catches him instead.
Go, Ricky. Oh, God, I almost just got destroyed by him.
The large snake misses its target and nearly peels out of its container onto the floor. Noah's incredibly lucky to have pulled his hand away in time, or the snake would have had that to bite on instead. Published in October of 2011, the YouTuber wrote in the video description, "I found where the creature has been hiding, along with my dead cat. What creature?" While searching his property, the original uploader found a sewer or a drainage pipe, which is where the video begins. As he's walking towards the drain, he only brought his camera and a knife. What does he need a knife for? We'll soon find out. He enters the tunnel, and you can't see much inside apart from his bright headlights on the walls, but then again, as the light shines ahead deeper into the tunnel, he seems to catch a brief glimpse of a creature standing there. 2 bright eyes gleaming in the darkness, he races out of the tunnel. He explains that his camera died as he was hurrying home, the sewer being a 1/4 mile deep in the forest. For some reason, he decides to head back the next day to explore the tunnel again, in the hopes of capturing the creature face to face. This time he enters the tunnel through the opposite side, where the stream is coming out. Inside, he finds the skull of his cat. He also finds what he believes to be the creature's nest.
That's my cat. That's my cat. I think I just found this place's nest.
So what do you think? Is this creature indeed alien or some other known life form? Unless we know what sewer this YouTuber is exploring, we cannot move forward with verifying if this footage is legitimate. A YouTuber named Matthew Van Hughes is enjoying nature when he hears a loud voice of someone who apparently isn't. Listen to this part and tell me if you can literally hear the word help being said, because I think I can. The sound quiets down and then switches over to something far less human. Skeptics think that this is some kind of wild animal, but I think I can hear English being spoken here, but I can't tell what. Maybe the words "don't take me." Let me know what you hear. When he gets to the bottom off the cliff, nothing is there. Matthew waits for an hour and doesn't hear anything else, so he leaves whatever it was to take their final breaths. There's a scary cemetery in this Egyptian neighborhood that is said to be haunted only on the quietest of nights. Mustafa Nabil goes exploring the haunted place at an early hour with his friends. In front of the cemetery gate stands a tall and silent figure guarding the outside. They immediately cut the paranormal exploration short and just want to go home, but the mysterious figure is not going to let them off that easily. It seems like they are blocked at every turn. Something looks at them from around the corner and sends them running down random streets to get away. They are out of breath and about to slow down to regroup when they see the spirit has somehow teleported ahead of them and brought back up. They have to keep moving and stay out of sight. There are many winding alleyways to go through, but they feel constantly watched and far from safe as they are relentlessly followed down every path. At 8 minutes and 24 seconds, they think they are safe and finally slow down. None of them see a supernatural figure watching them from the shadows. The video ends, but it seems their paranormal plight is far from over. A piece of the graveyard has committed itself to following them home. Built in the 1800s, the historic Jefferson Hotel in Jefferson, Texas is haunted as can be. Every once in a while, it's not uncommon for a guest or two to complain about hearing voices at night or feeling a hand grazed by their cheek while dozing off. The owner of the hotel is doing some remodeling and walks past a door that suddenly opens all by itself. He says that the door was securely shut and that he actually heard it unlock before it opened. The scary CCTV video does in fact show him turning around a second before the door opens, so his story indeed checks out. But that's not even the scariest moments caught on camera by him. This is way worse. Creepy video of the same hallway on a different night depicts a dark shadow passing over the green door at the far end, a room where most of the activity takes place besides this hall, and when it does so, the lamp turns off on its own. Considering a jilted bride once took her life here, and the spirits of countless children are known to play tricks, this bizarre shadow person could be any of the usual suspects. I believe this ghost video's real simply based on the hotel's legendary haunted status alone. With videos this creepy, it's a wonder anyone would want to stay here for long, unless they were purposefully trying to get scared. A YouTuber named Dan Loganiffy shot this Disneyland footage almost 10 years ago, and it still remains a paranormal point of contention even today. Dan's filming the end of a typical Disney fireworks show when he sees something strange and zooms in. A gray specter appears to be admiring the show from atop his perch on the Walt Disney Castle. It watches the final barrage of fireworks for a bit longer and then silently disappears from sight. Some people think that this was just a fireworks technician wearing dark clothing, while others are convinced that this is a phantom and possibly even the ghost of Walt Disney himself. I'm not sure what it was, but I do agree that the timing is very eerie. I mean, the ghost or whatever it was does happen to show up right before the final high note and then disappear shortly afterwards, so that's definitely odd. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think the timing was just a coincidence. This Redditor was seeing shadows moving from room to room throughout his home. He wanted to capture the phenomenon on video, so he set up a security camera. This is what he found. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by GusBR89. The Redditor asks fellow Redditors to explain the following 2 surveillance videos. The first video shows a strange light anomaly coupled with a shadow distortion. The second video is taken that same evening and shows an orb float across the screen. Most assume the orb is dust, but others are curious about the shadow disturbing the first video. Redditor Cloudette says it looks like an intruder, while Yetin admits it certainly looks like something, though no Redditor really has a clear answer as to what this exactly is. The Redditor says this is not the only paranormal experience he's had in the place. He's heard footsteps, a child's laughter, and even has a witness to one of these shadows passing directly in front of them. While all of this is upsetting, many are more afraid of the doll, and nevertheless this video appears to convincingly show something paranormal. TT Mando posted this video in 2008 of his ninja cat chasing a ghost around the living room. In the description, he writes, "I've never really been a believer in ghosts, but my wife and I have 2 cats that used to always go nuts seeing things that we could not see. They would howl at the lights in our dining room and chase things around that were not there. It was really weird, so my one cat starts going nutty one night like he is seeing something. So I decided to try and shoot some footage, thinking maybe I can see what they are seeing through a camera." The video begins with the cat watching something floating in the air attentively. What is he staring at? While shooting the footage, the YouTuber switched between regular and night vision mode, which is when the ninja cat started climbing the walls. Literally. You can see that the cat has managed to climb to the top of a dresser and is looking up into the corner of the room. Whatever the cat has its eyes on must be moving all over the place because her gaze darts here and there. The cat then jumps down from its spot on the dresser to a scratching post. And then, as its eyes follow the invisible, it jumps up the wall and lands on the floor. It tries again, jumping up the door and managing to get its claws into the door frame. It looks up into the corner of the ceiling, its head still darting around. The cat hangs there for nearly an entire minute, seemingly enraptured by the ghost or spirit in its sights. Seriously, do you see anything there? Because I sure do. According to the YouTuber, a dot of light moved through the TV once he got his cat down from the door. The YouTuber points out the light that moves from the back to the front of the room. If you watch the video closely, you can see it too. The experience was apparently traumatic for this cat owner, who now sleeps with the covers over his head. A scary video of paranormal investigation shows what kind of creepy stuff can happen when exploring abandoned places goes wrong. Dan of a paranormal investigation channel called Paranormal Encounters UK explores a haunted hotel that is a hotbed of paranormal activity. He explores the lobby and goes upstairs. Past a rope, he finds 2 empty glasses at the counter. Kind of like somebody was preparing to take their own life. Dan calls out to no one in particular and captures a ghost on camera that could be a bug.
Hello?
Next, he explores a room with lots of mysterious lights. The longer he stays, the more light seems to appear. He talks about how before becoming a haunted hotel, this place used to be a girls' school. So maybe there's a little ghost girl watching from the hallway. Nothing else happens until 18 minutes later when he explores a different room. This is the part of the paranormal investigation where he addresses anyone nearby directly.
If there's any spirits, if there's any ghosts, anything in this room right now that wants to make contact with me.
Only when he looks through the camera does he realize spooky ghost orbs have been following him all along.
What reflection? Oh my, what's that coming towards me then?
Ghost orbs which fly into him repeatedly. If you believe in the paranormal, then you will probably see this as spirits attaching themselves to a living host. In other words, a possession. If you are a skeptic, then to you this is not a ghost sighting, merely dust. The Jordanian ghost hunter, known only as Mr. Harith, is back at it again with more scary stuff caught on livestream video, this time while exploring an abandoned house once inhabited by an alleged witch.
ان شاء الله يعني شوف في الحمام. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
This could be one of his friends, but each time he looks in the room the witch was just in, the figure has disappeared.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
Things get really weird when this ghost caught on livestream mysteriously disappears as well.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا 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 راح والله راح. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
This might have been caused by a live stream delay, except it doesn't drop frames and the resolution stays the same. The ghost witch is simply there 1 second and gone the next. Odd lights hang around shortly after. Gavin Blackshire leaves his property, and he is certain they're supernatural. The lights move over one car and back again. Never breaking their vertical formation. Someone in the comments says that it's just a spiderweb with rain droplets up close. I believe this explanation, but at the same time it's really weird how nothing appears until the moment he leaves. Jim Lin is visiting Harbin, Japan, and now faces bowl after bowl of gourmet insects. The pressure is on to sample the culture by eating as many different dishes as he can. At 4 minutes and 1 second, the juices of a plump cicada hits the back of his throat with a loud squirt.
Oh, it's goose. Oh, it's goose.
The insides look wet and green, and not like something I would look forward to trying. How would you even tell if this was cooked right? But there's still more bugs to eat. This oversized grasshopper looks more like a crayfish. They are in a busy market with music and people having conversations everywhere, and yet the crunch is louder than anything else going on. When in Rome, do as the Romans do is an age-old expression that means you should follow the rules of other cultures in their country, but I don't think everyone could handle this bug buffet. It may just make your jaw drop. A small kayak is completely dwarfed by an enormous shark that's not too far away. The shark begins to turn towards the kayaker and make a pass at them, though it's unclear whether the shark was hungry or just curiously investigating its surroundings. Either way, the uploader of this video estimates the shark to be over 40 feet long based on the average size of a kayak. Sometimes being deep underwater can make objects look much bigger than they really are. However, here you can see that the shark is close enough to the surface for its fin to break the water, so its size is not being exaggerated at all. From what I understand, sharks don't usually come to the surface unless they see something of interest, so maybe it really was going to eat the kayaker. I'm not sure about the geographic location of this video, but it appears to have been taken from some sort of helicopter, perhaps one belonging to the National Coast Guard of whichever country is claiming these waters as its territory. Unfortunately, the video ends before we get to see the kayaker's fate. Of course, this uploader could just be skilled at video editing. Let me know what you make of this one. The G-Team paranormal investigators are at it again, returning to the highly paranormal medical center. The paranormal activity that occurs in this video is sure to scare you silly. Published to YouTube in April of 2020, the team writes, "We chose this place due to the amount of paranormal activity we always get here, and lo and behold, they were waiting for us. Hold on to your hats, because this one's a wild ride." Patty leads the pack, and the paranormal activity that occurs in the center is off to the races from the get-go. As the crew is doing their intro, something in the next room falls to the floor.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What was that?
When they go to investigate, they claim that as soon as they walked into the room, it grew extremely cold. Jody screams, saying he felt like something touched him. He said something got his neck, and Patty points out that a cord hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room is moving. Throughout the entire video, there are odd noises here and there. Sometimes they're subtle, other times they're distinct.
It said doctor?
That was crazy.
Around 10 minutes 25 seconds, Jody is trying to communicate with the presence in the medical center, asking it to tap 3 times.
When that came out.
You hear that?
Although it does not comply, a shadow falls across the room, and another loud bang is heard in the next room.
Oh, God.
All this frightening activity begs the question, what kind of medical procedures went on here? This scary video captured an inhuman humanoid figure lurking over a human habitat, and it has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Taken in someone's backyard, you first see a pool with trees beyond. It looks as though the cameraman is searching for something in the foliage. He then turns to the roof of the home. The roof at first seems to be empty, but when the cameraman turns completely to the right, this terrifying figure is spotted. Its fleshy skin is a raw sunburnt pink, its limbs are somewhat elongated, its shoulders are hunchbacked, and its pinhead is on a neck that's uncannily long. The creepiest part of it is that the figure is looking right at him. It stays still for a second, its eyes glowing as it watches the unsuspecting cameraman, before leaping with cat-like reflexes over the other side of the roof and out of sight. If this footage is real, then I have no idea what this thing possibly was. 2 men go into an internet cafe early in the morning with a few pro tools and the worst of intentions. Hardly anyone is there, and even if the place were busy, it wouldn't matter because they've got their routine down to a science. They pick 2 seats midway down so as not to look obvious. One of them acts like they're going online, but what he's really doing is helping to cover the movements of his friend, who has already unscrewed the casing of the computer and is now working on the floor bolts that are holding it down. There's a wall on his side, so if you worked there, it would be like he was digging through a backpack or something. Something walks by them at 28 seconds and is too busy on their phone to notice what they're up to. They act like they are looking at something on the same screen as the entire uncased computer gets put into a large plastic bag. They put the empty computer case back to make it look like nothing is out of place. They can't just walk out of there with a big obvious computer-shaped plastic bag, so they take it into the bathroom and dismantle the computer for valuable spare parts and throw the rest in the trash. The clerk has no idea what they've done, not even glancing up as they briskly walk out with top-of-the-line video cards, RAM, and other hardware to sell. Clearly, this isn't their first time, but this time they were caught on camera. Published to YouTube by Vision Paranormal in August of 2018. The channel writes in Spanish that an unidentified sense of fear was pressing upon employees at some government office in Mexico City. Some claim to have seen a monk on the grounds. The channel writes, always at dawn you can hear wailing and screaming until one day the security camera managed to capture that chilling being that scared them every night. Let's take a look. This image was captured in September of 2009 at 1:46 a.m. It appears to be a hooded paranormal figure descending the stairs and moving very slowly through the building. Could this be the so-called cursed monk who's creating such fear within? If so, what did he do to provoke such wailing and screaming? What you don't know can't hurt you, right? What lurks in your alley in the middle of the night? This video may surprise you. Published to YouTube by Tasklock in March of 2021, the security footage was recorded on the 30th of December 2020 at around 4 in the morning. An empty road with a few motorcycles and bicycles parked along each side, still in the darkness, at least for the moment. Suddenly, someone invisible decides to take this bike out for a spin. The motorcycle abruptly pulls out into the road, turning in place. At one point, it slows in its turning, then jerks forward and continues in its path before falling over on the side in the middle of the road. Could this just be something mechanical malfunctioning in the bike, or did a ghost realize he didn't have enough momentum mid-launch? Would you take something that turned you into a zombie? Please don't do it, because it's a horrible idea. In October of 2017, a number of sightings were reported in Brazil in which humans were behaving monstrously, with some running their heads into windshields and others flailing their arms and screaming nonsense as if they were possessed. This video clip shows what a nightmare this can be. He pounds the windshield as well before taking a running start at it with his head. With his arms outstretched, the boy screams into the ethers, while one guy outside holds an arm out, seemingly trying to calm him. The boy continues to scream in place before trying to smash his way into the bus again. This goes on for several minutes. Whatever this man has taken to be acting this way, just remember, it's never a good idea to do the same. A family is crossing the border from Texas into Mexico when this SUV gets on their tail and shines a light at them in a ploy to pull them over that they didn't fall for. The family knows this vehicle belongs to a group of outlaws who collect money from any American tourist unlucky enough to cross their path, so they speed back to the border with the SUV close behind. They make it back to safety, but somewhere along the way, they have this strange encounter that everyone was too distraught to notice at the time. Maybe the grainy dashcam video is to blame, but as one commenter points out, it almost looks like this dog literally teleports into the shot at 29 seconds. At 27 seconds, you can see both streets are empty, except for a man and his bike, and then 2 seconds later, this dog appears out of nowhere, and doesn't come into focus until it's halfway across the street. I guess it could have emerged from the street corner, which was hidden by the truck in front, but however you want to look at it, you may never expect for a car chase in Mexico to end with a possibly teleporting dog. Everyone knows seedy stuff happens under bridges, and YouTuber Last Leaf Studio found evidence of this in July of 2016, posting a video entitled, "Some Creature Creeps Under the Pedestrian Bridge in Kiev." The footage shows traffic passing by on a highway in Ukraine's capital, as the cameraman is posted alongside a pedestrian walkway. Scanning the scene, the camera lands on the pedestrian bridge overhead. Look closely here. Beneath the bridge, you can see a large creature, apparently somehow holding onto the underside of this bridge, creeping across it bit by bit. You can even see its limbs move as it makes its way across. At first in darkness, the figure makes its way towards the light. A close-up of the creature reveals that this figure is distinctive. Its outline and limbs seem to be that of a human, or at least that of a humanoid creature. But what human can traverse the underbelly of a bridge like that, and why would they? The other option is that it's something with an immense amount of strength. What do you think it is? A kid in Russia is crossing the hall when he comes across a goblin-like home intruder that seems only to appear when the lights are off. I don't think this is real because I don't know why he would be randomly filming from this angle unless it was for something planned out. Even though this is almost certainly fake, he still does the right thing by noping out of there backwards. Forget about grabbing the camera. It's not worth the extra steps. The best place to see ghosts, cemeteries of course, as these paranormal investigators confirm. They posted this haunted cemetery video in October of 2019 writing, 2 different husband and wife paranormal investigators accompany GOCM 1 week apart to investigate a known haunted cemetery. The 45-minute video includes creepy screaming heard in the darkness as the investigators examine tombstones, as well as random voices heard using an EVP, a child laughing. Some of the ghosts even ask for help to leave.
What the?
A reminder to bring your EVP along the next time you enter the cemetery. That is, if you want to communicate with the afterlife that lies beneath those hollowed grounds. Somebody's Watching You, posted to Instagram by Henry Cavill. This clip is seemingly just a simple, albeit incredible instructional video, in which Superman actor Henry Cavill puts together a gaming PC. But not everything is as it seems. As Henry pieces this monster together, sharing his expertise, the project turns into an all-day event and darkness falls outside. That's when you see this eerie face in the window. In the comments, memes like one points it out to Henry, writing, "There is a creepy face behind the window. What is that?" Well, Cavill has no answer. Miss Nightmare does, suggesting it might be a ghost or a lurker. Well, Danny Maiden thinks it's a Joker painting. What do you think it is? Just an altogether eerie reflection? Or is something or someone lurking on Henry? Dark Ghost is a Russian paranormal investigator sharing his story on YouTube since May 2017. He has traveled to some of the most terrifying locations in Russia to document evidence of ghosts and other bizarre phenomena. By popular request, he returned to a home he had previously investigated and had gotten a lot of response from whatever was living there. According to legend, someone or multiple people are buried underneath. Immediately upon entering, there is still furniture in the house largely untouched, giving the impression the house was vacated rather quickly. The bed even remains done. It's not long after his arrival he receives his first sign he is not alone. Loud knocks from the living room behind him. He ventures to the kitchen to investigate, where he is greeted by a door swinging open on its own. The room the door leads to is full of junk and what appears to be a table and bed frame, but nobody is inside. Curiously, there is a trapdoor to the attic, which he decides to later investigate. After setting up his equipment, he ventures back to the attic door to have a look inside. Furthermore, it's doubtful anyone is hiding up there as it's too cramped, and the only way to open the trapdoor is from below. Nothing happens for quite some time until he is nearing the end of an experiment using a camera flash rapidly firing. After a final flash, a loud sliding noise is heard from under the bed, causing him to retreat. When he gathers the courage to return, he discovers evidence that a box under the bed was moved, as seen by the disturbance and the dust on the ground. Moments after this discovery, he is startled by the same noise under the second bed to his left. He briefly retreats outside to compose himself and eventually returns to the living room. Once again, nothing happens for some time until he goes to retrieve another piece of equipment.
Так, мне нужно сейчас будет ИГФ.
As he ventures back to the kitchen, he is startled when the accordion on a side table suddenly goes off. He watches in shock as it continues to squeeze in and out, the haunting sound emanating from it. This almost proves too much and he rushes into the kitchen, closing the door behind him. However, whatever has been with him this entire time goes after him, and the door once again quickly opens, almost as if it has been kicked open. He kicks the door back to see if there's a response, and he gets one in the form of a door behind him rattling. Clearly terrified, he retreats outside. After some time, he explains he stayed away for about an hour before he returned inside. When he returns, he sets up a spirit box session, asking questions as a camera continuously takes photos of him. Despite asking questions for several minutes, it takes some time before he receives his first response. Almost immediately after, he hears what appears to be shuffling or possibly whispering from beneath the bed next to him. After asking if whatever is there can show itself, the wardrobe behind him opens on its own.
Вы можете показаться?
Without him noticing at first, after the spirit box replied, "Not enough strength," followed by "to pass away." When he asks what it meant, it replies, "For you." Well, it seems to make sense the reply would be "not enough strength" in responding to its manifesting. Following up with "to pass away" and "for you" seems ominous and terrifying. Could the spirit be referring to its desire to take their lives? When he asks what it means, it replies, "and you will see us." By now, Dark Ghost can hide the fear on his face, even from behind his face mask. His mannerisms are now that of anxiety. After several moments of silence, he asks if it is still there, only to receive an answer of ear-piercing electrical screams.
Вы здесь? Вы здесь?
At this point, he decides to end the investigation out of fear for his safety. Clearly, whatever remains there is unwelcoming and wants to be left alone. YouTuber Eugene of Dark Magic returns to the house where the soul dwells, and he discovers that the soul still dwells there. While in the kitchen, he hears noise in the next room.
Что-то разбилось. Кружка, что ли, какая-то?
He continues to explore, and the soul doesn't leave him alone. As he speaks to the spirit, he finds it has something to say.
Почему ты такой? Ой.
Simultaneously, a Steadycam moves into the next room. What is going on here? And what does this soul want? To me, it sounds like it wants to be left alone. If you've lost a loved one, you might sometimes feel that their spirit is still with you. And if you're anything like TikToker E to the R to the ICA, you might find video proof that this is actually true. Erica R 1971 posted this ghostly video to the site writing, "So my security picked this up tonight. My dad passed on November 26, and I wonder if it's him." The footage shows a ghostly figure pass by, floating casually past the security camera. The figure is white and vapor-like, appearing across the scene from right to left. If Erica is right, and this is in fact her father's spirit, what is he trying to tell her? Does he just want to comfort her by making his presence known? It does not look like CGI to me, so I think this video is 100% real. In Erica's place, would you feel comforted by a ghost? An Xbox Kinect is probably the last thing that you would ever expect to use to capture a ghost, but that's what Keith Weldon apparently did on his channel called Weldon Paranormal. This ghost hunter received a call to investigate paranormal activity at an antique store in Rocklin, California, so he packed up his equipment and headed over. The owner of this shop believe that a spirit was attached to an antique piece of furniture. To find the ghost, they used a Kinect camera that's hooked up to a laptop using special ghost hunting software. The software uses the Kinect's motion sensing capabilities to detect and map out any invisible forms in the room. Nothing is happening at first, so after a while, they decide to play old music that's from the same time period as the haunted furniture. Sure enough, they capture a ghost apparently dancing behind them.
And then it has that figure over there and it looks like it's dancing again.
Do you like the music?
Like literally like got rhythm and like...
Oh yeah.
When they turn the music off, they try to interact with the ghost some more.
She's shying away. Yeah. Oh my god.
It's holding your hand.
If this footage is real, then it could be the first time a true human-to-ghost interaction has ever been recorded. I don't understand the technology behind this equipment, so I can't say if it's real or fake, but if you're a ghost hunting expert and can verify this footage, then please let me know. Don't leave your fun up to an app. It might take you on a journey to your demise. Published to TikTok by Stephen Donovan, he explains that he was using the Randonautica app to direct him on a random adventure. For those who are unfamiliar with Randonautica, the app delivers a set of local coordinates supplied by a quantum random number generator. In doing so, users are encouraged to explore the unexpected. Stephen's coordinates certainly delivered. Here's what happened. Randonautica sent these two on a dirt road through an abandoned ghost town. Creepy mannequins are standing in the windows of the empty wooden buildings. The mountain roads take them past empty cars parked on the shoulder. However, no one appears to be in the area. They pass a sign that reads private property, but they ignore it and continue up the steep, narrow road. It's getting dark and they are now on foot. The pin is pulled up and they are getting close to their destination. That's when they see it.
But we had the pin pulled up, we were so close to it, and this happened. I don't know how to explain this.
Something rolls down the hill from a broken structure, and in that structure they see what looks like a melted face. They take this as their cue to leave. TikToker Rachel Chun surmises, watch those cars be the ones left behind by the randonauts that never left. Steven notes that he deleted the app after this misadventure. After this, can you blame him? At 12 a.m., TikToker Diana Estrada 9's toddler wanted some milk, but on the way to the kitchen in the darkness, what they got instead was Paranormal.
¿A quién le dices sola, hija? ¿A quién le dices sola? Hola, niña. Ay, hijo de puta madre.
It seems the child sees a girl in the darkness, and it terrifies the mother. Some in the comments suggest that the baby receives a quiet answer after her second hello.
¿A quién le dices sola?
I disagree though. I think that ambient noise is coming from a television or some other device, but the addition of Nina is what creeps most viewers out, and the child's mother as well. Should we be creeped out? The child seems unafraid of the girl, that is, until the mother shows her fear, so I think the spirit may be harmless. Founded in 1969, MUFON is a collection of possible sightings caught on tape by civilians across the world. The organization examines unexplainable events in the sky to help make sense of them, but over the years there's been a lot of strange sightings caught on video, too many to make sense of. Some scary things in the sky were caught on camera in the UK from 2015 to 2018, and they look kind of like the same sighting. The first sighting occurred over London on July 5th, 2015. A person was drinking tea while looking at the sky when they noticed that one of the birds flying overhead was not a bird at all. They adjust the camera and watch the strange aircraft poke through a cloud before it disappears. Compare this video to another strange sky sighting in the UK in October of 2018 that was uploaded 3 years later. They caught it on tape, but the camera is shaky. Still, despite the video being shaky, it still does look like the same round black dot as the other sighting, and the object moves at roughly the same rate of speed. I was thinking these could be experimental drone videos or something along those lines, but then, on January 9th, 2017, we finally get to see the mysterious aircraft get a closer look, and it just makes everything even more unexplainable. These scary things were seen in the sky at night, hanging low over a building in Gosport, UK, close to where the other videos were taken. I know this isn't a drone video, because it starts out as one light and within seconds it splits into two.
He's now come back, two of them now back.
One moment the lights in the sky are white, then they come back as blue. The mysterious lights disappear over the buildings as they slowly sink towards Earth, and that's the last anyone's seen of them for years. So there you have it, 3 unexplained events caught on camera over the UK skies that could be related and never have been solved. A YouTube channel called Sailing Latitude is boating around the Italian island of Sardinia when a freak lightning storm breaks overnight, forcing them into survival mode. They try to outrun the storm at first, but the winds are much too strong and soon lightning is breaking directly overhead. Aside from getting zapped, a single bolt would be enough to fry their navigation equipment and leave them completely stranded at sea. The experienced navigator is able to visually estimate 2 areas where lightning is striking the most, and they sail between these 2 areas skillfully. In other words, they basically have no choice but to steer between 2 storms, and in doing so they almost get trapped in the storm multiple times, like here at 10 minutes and 15 seconds for example. To make matters worse, the winds could change at a moment's notice and bring the storm clouds even closer. Somehow they just barely managed to sail through the little pocket of clear weather, well flanked between 2 storms. Hours later, a calm sunrise greets them, as if it was all just a bad dream. Who is standing at the end of the hallway? Published by Find Ghost in December of 2021, this short clip captures a ghost girl on camera in a haunted home. As ghost hunters are searching around this room, the camera pans around. Look closely at the end of the hallway. A creepy figure can be seen standing there with long white hair and a darkened face. When the cameraman pans back a moment later, the figure is gone. Would you leave? The caption says. I'm already gone. Do you take this ghost bride to be your lawfully wedded wife? I don't. Published by Thiago Ferracao in April of 2022. This ghost hunter encountered a phantom bride that was forcibly married to her husband in this haunted church. This is what happened. As they first enter the church, an unseen force slams the door shut and moves a wooden bench with great force, and then the fun begins. The bride is first seen as they are attempting to communicate with her using a spirit box. Watch the door carefully in the background. A pale figure passes slowly. The pair don't notice it.
Qual era o seu nome?
Later, as they're told to leave, they see the figure face to face. Once they're standing outside the church, the figure is seen standing at the altar. As Thiago walks toward the church doors, they're slammed shut in his face. After watching this scary video, would you say I do? Let me know in the comments. You're never alone on an amusement park ride. This phantom will make sure of it. Published to YouTube by Eli Zix in September 2015, the following footage will have you looking twice. The clip shows 3 women and a man riding the pirate ship at an amusement park, swinging back and forth. At the beginning of the clip, there are clearly 3 women there, but as the video ends, the 3rd woman on the end has completely vanished. Where did she go? Did she fall off the ride? Disappear somehow? Or was she ever really there at all? Some in the comments claim that this girl passed away on this ride 2 years prior to when this video was filmed. This is all hearsay, but who knows? The truth has to be out there somewhere. Empty roads at night can be quite sinister, especially when this happens. Posted to TikTok, Leslie Alexis writes that she and her sister went out to get ices at 2:30 in the morning. When they arrived at the first stoplight on the way out of their neighborhood, it was green, but the white truck waiting at the light didn't budge. The pair beeped, but it still didn't move. They eventually went around. They went and got their ices and returned home. On their way back, the car was still sitting at the light. They passed it, pulled a U-turn, and drove by again, trying to see if there was anyone inside, but the windows were too tinted. Some in the comments were worried the driver might have had a medical emergency. Others think that they just fell asleep or passed out at the wheel. In part 2 of the video series, Leslie explains that they returned home and told their mom, and she drove them back to the stoplight. Once there, the car was gone. It was 3 a.m. Coincidence? Maybe, but it makes you wonder what exactly happened here. A YouTube explorer named Adventures with Josh tracks what he later describes as a strange creature sighted while exploring an abandoned house in the middle of some rather scary woods at night. The structure he finds is no bigger than a doghouse and is empty upon investigation, but when he turns around and looks up, he sees it, and it sees him.
What is it? That thing is freaky. Hello?
A mysterious creature with glowing white eyes stares down without a word. I know it's a creature and not someone wearing night vision goggles because the glowing blank eyes blink multiple times.
I can't even tell what animal that is. It doesn't look like a possum.
A possum was my next guess, but apparently the eyes are too far apart for it to be one. The brow resembles a human more than an animal. I don't know what this strange creature sighting is, but it does seem to be waiting for him to leave, so it can go back to its creepy abandoned home in the middle of the woods. Redditor Pitboy1050 captured this on his security camera at work, and it may make you want to call in sick.
16 flatbed trailers are mounted with those fireworks and 200 miles of wire used carry, so it is an impressive showcase for these hundreds of thousands of people.
Well, some think it's a ghost. The way it hovers looks almost mechanical to me. The Redditor writes that it went on for longer, and he could see the entire figure from top to bottom, and then saw it leave. In some traditions, souls are said to stay on Earth for 40 days after their passing. It definitely looks like a pokong to me, but it could also just be a bug on the lens. Which side are you on? 4 friends are playing Wii Sports late at night, with no one else home and no one expected to join them later. Keep in mind, this is 2008. When recording yourself playing video games without showing the actual screen was normal. Anyway, with their backs turned, a mysterious figure darts past the window unnoticed and unannounced. This strange silhouette is transparent and just kind of appears in the middle of the window out of nowhere, more like a ghost than a person passing by. Or it could be the person in the white shirt's reflection when they leave the frame and bend over, accidentally creating the illusion of someone running past. This Ukrainian dashcam captures one of the highest resolution highway ghost encounters I have ever seen. Watch this part and tell me what is being said here if possible. I would really like to have a legitimate translation of this potentially supernatural message. The driver speeds off after she falls back and disappears, and does not stop until they are back to civilization. This professional quality of this video makes me wonder if this is from a European movie or television show. If not, it almost looks like a well-constructed hologram. I could find no other source for this video, so be sure to let me know if this is amateur footage or something from mainstream media. This footage comes from India, where a woman is seen cleaning up at a sink. Suddenly, a dark figure appears behind her and gives her a hard shove from behind. She turns around only to find the room empty and hurries away. This one is especially haunting. Published to YouTube by TVR Exploring in December of 2019. The uploader explains that Ingolchek was a mining town that was abandoned twice, once by the dissolved Soviet Union, and then again by a foreign company that tried its hand to little success. But it wasn't the environment that surprised TVR Exploring, it was the encounter he had underground that he can't get out of his head. After TVR films the remote mountainside and the surrounding buildings, he heads into the mine, where he's looking at some rusted old gear left on a workbench. You start to hear howling from deep within the tunnel. There's water dripping, which drowns out the sound somewhat, but you can hear distinctly the otherworldly scream as TVR describes it. Although he's a self-proclaimed skeptic and doesn't necessarily consider the sound to be supernatural, TVR says all the hairs stood up on the back of his neck. After reflecting, he still doesn't know its source, and he asks his audience for their thoughts. Some say it's obviously a ghost or demon, others the wind, and still others consider it may be hydraulic. Although there's no definitive answer, everyone seems to agree that this man is extremely brave. A YouTuber named Furious Otter is piloting his nosy drone across a long stretch of woods when he comes across a mysterious all-white object that doesn't match the native scenery. He grows curious and decides to take the drone closer to the ground to get a better look. It's a decision that he probably now regrets. It doesn't look like much at first, but the situation becomes much more clear after he zooms in. A witch-like figure appears to crouch low while watching the drone from the tree line. I can't tell if they are waving at them or brushing something out of their hair, but either way, this strange hermit just shouldn't be out here this deep in the woods. This video is terrifying if it's real, but a couple of things make me question its authenticity. I know drones can get a lot closer than that, so why didn't he try to get closer to see if they needed help instead of immediately flying away? I guess he could have been worried about losing his drone, or possibly even getting cursed, so he just got out of there fast instead. If that's the case, then I can't say I blame him. Let me know what you think you would have done if you were there. A man records his pet cat studying its reflection in a mirror for the very first time. The animal is fascinated, and over again, it tests the reflection by cautiously putting one paw in front of the other, almost as if it doesn't completely trust what it is seeing. Now satisfied that this mirror image is no threat, the cat settles down and looks behind for one moment, but as it turns out, its initial instincts were right all along. If you didn't catch it, the cat's reflection does not match the cat's own movements. So what do you think? Was this special effects or a once-in-a-lifetime moment caught on video? I'm convinced that house is haunted, since it looks too realistic to be done by amateur video editing. A YouTuber named Exploration Unknown is rummaging around a 200-year-old cemetery when they notice something observing them off in the distance.
What is that? I see some lights through the trees over there. Something's coming. Dude, we need to get out of here.
At first, it looks like some native wildlife, but when the strange light changes from yellow to red, they know these can't be the eyes of an animal.
There's a light coming right there. It's moving through the woods. I don't know, it's right where we need to go.
It may not be the fastest chase ever recorded, but exploration unknown is still effectively driven out of the area nonetheless by these strange flickering lights. Let me know what these color-changing lights could have been, because I honestly have no idea. When YouTuber Hype Mike and his team open a crate in the basement of this haunted house, they encounter something horrifying. First, they must find something to open it with.
That's why it's here. They're giving us the tools to succeed.
Oh my just opened.
Yep, good idea. A little bit more. Crank 3, 2. What the?
That was the basement door slamming shut. They try to reopen it.
Open it.
It's not opening.
What do you mean it's not opening?
Did somebody close the door? It's not opening.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I saw something, it escaped. Like, it's like leaving the basement. That's what I saw, bro. Whenever I said I saw shadow, it was walking away from the basement.
They return to the box and they find this.
Let's see. Oh my, what the hell? Look at this. Dude. Jesus. Holy shit.
Creepy stuff. Later, they break out of the basement, but they might live to regret it.
Find the Oh, hold up. What? Oh, dude. My God. How? What the was that? I didn't touch that. No. Did anyone notice that?
Did that demon figure come down from the attic? Later, while reviewing some photos taken on her camera, one of the crew notices something truly creepy in the background.
During my spare time, whatever, and look.
What the is that? What is it? What is it? Dude, look. Somebody here. What is that?
Like right behind you.
And I didn't see anything. We didn't see anything.
Obviously, I didn't notice. Otherwise, I would have freaked out.
Is this the same figure captured on the Steadycam in the hallway?
Find the
I think it might be, and although this is a production, if I were Hype Mike's team, I'd be out of there in a flash, because the call is coming from inside the house. A man from Calgary is heading into work after a long Canadian Thanksgiving weekend when he sees the screen to the window has been pulled off and set carefully next to the door. Fearing an intruder, he plays back the security camera footage and finds something even scarier.
Creepy.
The screen is tightly secured, but then it pops out all by itself and lands perfectly upright. A gust of wind that strong should also move this object across a table, which it does not. So I vote ghost. Just like he says, it's beyond creepy.
Creepy.
As the name of his YouTube channel would suggest, Abroad in Japan provides helpful advice meant for anyone planning an extended stay in the country of Japan. Chris has lived there for over 7 years, and most of his videos deal with common topics, such as cultural differences and spending tips. 2 videos in particular, however, chronicle his experiences with Japan's supernatural. October 16th, 2018 is when Chris bikes with his friend Joey in search of an eerily abandoned tunnel that's rumored to be haunted. They don't know much about its history, but one look at how narrow it is, and it's hard to imagine a car squeezing through. The tunnel was apparently abandoned after too many lives were ended by unsafe driving. Now it lies on the side of the mountain, becoming more overgrown with each day. The first thing they notice is this strange human-like imprint on the wall, perhaps the spirit of someone who lost their life here. It's looking up towards the sky, and pale skin. Even the flowing sleeves of her dress are visible. It creeps them out and makes them want to get this over with so they can leave. As they are contemplating what all of this means, their camera records even more evidence that something is nearby. It's a soft voice whispering something in Japanese. Tell me if you can understand. I think it's real because the voice echoes off the tunnel walls. The exit is only a short distance away, so there's no big dramatic dash to safety or anything like that. They are suitably freaked out by now, and when they go to leave, this mysterious third person, shadow figure to be precise, is waiting for them at the end. Oh, and there's one other odd discovery in the haunted tunnel that I forgot to mention. Don't even want to know what this mysterious device was used for. It looks like it goes around a wrist or on an ankle and doesn't come off. So as strange as this paranormal encounter was, it was only scary enough to teach Chris his lesson for a year or two. February 16th, 2020 is when Chris stayed in Japan's most haunted hotel, a place known only as the Ryaku Fuso Inn. This is where the spirit of a young boy has been roaming the wealthiest people in Japan for over 600 years. That's a long time to be a troublesome little ghost. And by now he's gotten pretty good at his job, so what Chris sees that night should come as no surprise. This is where the spirit of a young boy has been haunting the wealthiest people in Japan for over 600 years. That's a long time to be a troublesome little ghost, and by now he's gotten pretty good at his job. So what Chris sees that night should come as no surprise. He and his friend wait until after hours to visit the memorial, where the boy is said to frequent, a shrine built in his name to keep him from becoming evil and cursed. I think I see the outline of a boy looking at them in the blue window above as one of them kneels down at the altar, and they must have done something wrong because this happens.
It's a bit creepy, isn't it?
Not only does a child scream, but a face appears over his shoulder shortly afterwards. They go back to their hotel room afterwards and don't think much of it, but the next day, Chris's friend reports an encounter that really troubles him. It seems as if they could have been followed after all.
Like, I couldn't move my body, and I heard someone, like, kind of standing on my chest, and then and he or she, whoever, touched my cheek.
I'm not sure if this last part is a paranormal encounter or sleep paralysis, a condition in which people are unable to move and often think they see a shadow figure moving towards them. This thirsty ghost is gonna drink your Coke. A YouTuber was telling a story to his viewers when the real story was going on behind him. Watch the soda can over his shoulder.
But it's definitely something creepy, so let's go ahead and zoom in on this jank. But this guy was the type of guy. Alright, there you have.
While the YouTuber thinks the soda could have been pulled by his camera cord, I think there might be another logical explanation.
But there's only one cord, and it's my camera cord. And you know, I thought maybe my camera cord, my webcam cord might have pulled it.
My thoughts are that condensation formed beneath the soda can, causing it to move across the slick surface of the desk. So what do you think? A thirsty ghost or science? I'm still wondering if it was condensation. Over a year ago, I briefly touched on the saga of Joseph Chan Sloan, a YouTuber who for years was haunted by a spirit from 2011 to 2014, but I didn't get to cover his whole story. 3 more videos in particular are worth getting into. But first, I did some more research and discovered a blog with years worth of updates. Joseph first noticed an apparition within weeks of letting his girlfriend move into his apartment, so I suspect she may have brought something that had attached itself to her. Soon each of them felt constantly watched, especially in the shower of all places, and it got to the point where they both thought they were getting pranked by each other. But one day, as Joseph was taking a shower, he heard his girlfriend come into the bathroom. The topic was already on his mind, so he explained to her that he thought the apartment was haunted, but then the figure on the other side, the one who he thought was his girlfriend, disappeared mid-explanation. From that point on, Joseph began setting up his sole camera in different places to document the spirit, and that's when things ramped up to the next level. On April 16th, 2012, Joseph announces out loud to whatever's listening that he's turning in for the night.
So we're just going to film this area. I had, like I said, my lighting issues were horrible, so I'm leaving some lights on this time. So if there is anything, hopefully we'll catch it. Anyways, guys, have a good night. See you in the morning.
Orb activity begins at 2 minutes and 12 seconds, carries on for about 6 seconds, and then abruptly stops. The kitchen is eerily quiet for over 40 seconds, and then the stovetop burner turns on to its highest setting. This happens out of nowhere at the 3 minutes and 17 seconds mark, but at 3 minutes and 14 seconds, an orb shows up in front of the oven just 3 seconds before it turns on. Could this be the ghost in question caught on camera? Joseph was asleep, so this event could have burned the whole place down if anything was still on the burner, which is maybe what this ghost was trying to do all along. A full 7 months later, on November 28th of that same year, Joseph puts the camera up on a high ledge to show as much of his living room as possible, floor to ceiling. He again announces that he's going to bed and turns out the lights. It's 11:46 p.m.
Anyways, we'll see what we get and if we get anything. So I'll see y'all in the morning and
Everything looks normal for roughly 2 minutes until a shadowy movement materializes over by the entertainment center. It's hard to notice even when circled, but when you do see it, it looks way out of place. I don't think it's camera pixelation because none of the other darker areas of the room are moving like this. And at approximately 2 minutes, a large, lonesome orb floats upwards from that part of the room and disappears. Exactly 10 minutes later, at 2 minutes and 12 seconds, this speaker falls over and lands not too far from where the orb originated from. Obviously, no one is around to knock it over, so if this is fake, how was it done? On October 1st, 2013, Joseph made his final YouTube video, letting everyone know he has moved to a new apartment. He thinks that changing his location has stopped the spirit, but considering it may have attached itself to his girlfriend when she first moved in, I'm not so sure it worked. This part at 4 minutes and 30 seconds further proves my point. It could be his camera making a squeaking noise while being adjusted, but it sounds a lot like the laughter of a small child.
But anyways, let's see if we can do it like this. There we go.
And when you compare it to his normal laugh, it's definitely not the same voice. And that's pretty much the last anyone's ever heard from him. The last update comes from his blog on July 25th, 2014, promising more videos that sadly never came. I don't know what happened to him, no one does, but suddenly dropping off at the height of your fame is not reassuring to say the least, and makes me wonder if something terrible happened. A mysterious creature sighted in the woods of Macanda, Illinois, has residents wondering if this video is real or fake. It looks fairly convincing upon first glance, but some parts are questionable, like how this looks more like a boot than a foot when it steps out at 22 seconds. At 23 seconds, it raises its back leg up high like a person would. I think if its legs were really that big, then its footsteps would be much heavier and closer to the ground, but maybe I'm wrong. Two scientists poke and prod at the body of a short, round-bellied humanoid with sharp features and a wide frown. They seem to follow a number of scientific procedures and pull out internal organs one at a time, weighing them on what I think is an old scale. The full video of this procedure is not for the squeamish. Everything looks very clinical, so I think this video has a good chance of being real. Published by Urban Ghost Hunters in February of 2020. This paranormal crew investigated a haunted 19th century church in rural Tennessee, with urban legends surrounding it, involving dark rituals from the 60s onward, and reports of shadow figures and disembodied voices there. It was ripe for investigation, and the crew wasn't disappointed. After placing a Bible on the candlelit railing in the church, something in there was angered by it. I guess this church lives up to its haunted reputation. A person is making a video in the woods about their fort when they catch something bizarre that leaves them screaming in horror as they run away.
Oh!
An unknown creature charges at them on all fours. At 45 seconds, you can see its arms are as long as its legs. In other words, not proportionate to a human at all. This video, taken in Texas, looks like it could be one of the many rake sightings that have recently been popping up again across the world. Most rake sightings show the creature screeching from afar. If that is what's captured here, then this video shows how quiet it can be for the element of surprise. While hunting for skinwalkers in Skinwalker Village, things start to go horribly wrong for YouTuber Hype Mike and his crew. First, they smell something rancid, and they soon find out what it is.
Dude, what is that smell? You smell that? It's like rotting flesh or something.
Run! Go! Hurry! What the This way.
After coming upon the Skinwalker feasting, they take shelter in an outbuilding, but something is waiting outside for them in the darkness.
Hello? Who's that? Hello?
What's this? Go. Be careful.
Will they make it out alive? If they do, it'll be a close call, but you'll have to watch the full video to find out. A YouTuber named Suspect Sky and his wife are convinced that something is waiting for them. Inside of their small closet, Suspect Sky slowly walks up to the closet and flings the door open. Prepared for conflict, only to find nothing inside. They are relieved for just a moment, and then decide to get out of the house anyway. Something is still in there waiting for them. They think they can feel its presence, and just want to leave as fast as they can. And when they looked at the video again later, they found out they were absolutely correct. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this redditor wrote, "The haunted Frank Lloyd Wright house in Florida. This place has always been active. Check out the full video over on our YouTube channel. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
I just watched an orb fly by toward you. What was that? What was that?
I heard something.
That sounded like it was in the kitchen. That sounded like it was on top of the roof.
Guys, if there is something here with us, we are not alone.
We can hear you walking.
I heard something.
Well, it certainly seems like the spirits that reside in this home are active. I guess it really makes no difference who the architect of a home is in the eyes of a spirit. My theory is the spirits here are trying to scare this paranormal team into never returning again. Mother points a camera at his daughter's closet because she is afraid of something in her room. He was probably expecting for it to be nothing, but instead what he's caught on camera after midnight has left him shaken up as she is. She wakes up to a noise from the closet, and then a basketball falls out, half deflated like something had squeezed all the air out. You can clearly see the full closet, and it's not big enough for anyone to hide inside. If this wasn't paranormal, then I'm not sure how it was set up. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.